Okay, this is part 3. I'm about 4 hours into the job. I've disconnected pretty much everything on the top of the transmission, any kind of cable, anything, so that when I pull the transmission out, in case it drops, I don't want to break any connection. So I've marked everything, just a simple numbering system, 1 of 1, 2 of 2, in case I can't remember where something goes back. And actually that'll help me make sure that I get all of the parts pieces back where they belong. The starter is back up here above the clutch slave cylinder. One bolt coming in from the back side and one coming in from the transmission side. So one on either side. And I've just got the starter setting back there out of the way. You do have to remove both of the side brackets for the motor mounts. I've got this one out already. There's 2 bolts that hold it on, 2 14mm bolts, and then 1 long bolt that holds it into the mount. You will see back here on the mount on the back side, you'll see where I have a wrench sitting there where you have to get to one of the bolts that holds the bracket on it. You can't even see it from the bottom or the top. You have to feel down in there and work it loose. There's another bolt at the top you have to get to, and then one you have to come up from underneath that hold the bracket on, and then the long bolt that holds it onto the mount, so that bracket will come out of the way completely. If those bolts are real tight, jack the transmission up a little bit, take some of the weight off of it, and then that should help you be able to take the bolts out by hand once you break them loose. The last mount is the upper mount here that I have to work on. And pretty much at this point, all that's holding the transmission on is 2 large bolts on the top here. And then everything else is going to be on the back side. So if you look at it from the passenger side, hopefully you can see that. Right above where the axle goes in, there's 2 bolts, 14mm. There's one down at the very bottom of the transmission, and then one on the other side, right underneath the starter of the bottom of the transmission as well. So that's pretty much where we're at now. My recommendation, if you don't have the ratcheting wrenches, that you have a set of those before you start, especially when you're working on some of these tight spots. Otherwise, you're having to turn your regular wrench a 1/4 inch at a time as you're loosening them up. But with a ratcheting one, mainly the 14mm is the one that you'll need for those tight spots. It'll make the job a little bit easier. That's pretty much where I'm at now, and I will update as soon as I can give you a little more information. I'm hoping I don't have to drop the transmission completely, because it's very heavy towards the right side as I'm looking at it here, where the axles go in, the transfer case, I guess that would be. So what happens is when you pull it out, it falls that way. So it's going to be a bear to get back in, because it'll be hard to balance it straight to get it to line up. But coming out, hopefully it won't drop off the jack. I've got to be real careful as I'm sliding it out. I'm hoping I can slide back the transmission far enough to where I could wire it in place, hold it back, and then maybe it'll give me room to get in there and remove the clutch and the flywheel, so that I don't have to completely drop the transmission down. That's where I'm at.